We live in a world obsessed with the big, the fast, and the dramatic. We see headlines about overnight success, viral sensations, lottery winners, and wonder why we're still stuck in the same place fighting the same battles. But let me tell you something that most people overlook. The extraordinary is often hidden inside the ordinary, repeated with discipline. It's not the massive leaps that change a life. It's the small, consistent steps taken daily when no one's cheering, when no one's watching, when it doesn't feel exciting or glamorous. It's showing up on the days you don't want to. It's reading 10 pages when your mind is tired. It's going for a walk when your heart is heavy. It's writing down your goals even when you feel like a fraud for believing in them. And it's doing those things not once, but over and over again. Because here's the truth, consistency beats intensity every single time. The person who goes to the gym one day and crushes it for 4 hours is sore tomorrow and proud of themselves. But the person who shows up for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, even on bad days, transforms their body in 6 months, not because they did something incredible once, but because they did something intentional, consistent. That's the real power of 1 hour a day. Doesn't seem like much in the moment. It's easy to overlook. It's easy to say, what difference will an hour make? But stack that hour every day and what you have is a revolution in slow motion. Think about it like this. An hour a day is 365 hours a year. That's over 9 full 40-hour work weeks. That's more time than most people spend pursuing anything meaningful. It's enough time to learn a language, to get in the best shape of your life, to become an expert in a new skill, to completely shift the direction of your future. But here's what stops most people. They don't see results fast enough. They start a routine, they get excited, they commit for a week or two, and then nothing dramatic happens. So they give up, and they go back to waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for life to change on its own. But life doesn't change through waiting. Changes through showing up, changes through momentum. And momentum is built in the hours no one sees. In the early mornings, the late nights, the quiet sacrifice, the disciplined decisions. That's where self-respect is born. That's where confidence is built. That's where your future is constructed, 1 hour at a time. And make no mistake, small effort doesn't mean small thinking. You can dream big, you can aim high, you should, but the dreams don't come alive in your mind, they come alive in your routines. Your ambition might be massive, but your discipline needs to start small. Not someday, not when things are easier. Nah. When you dedicate 1 hour a day to anything that matters, your health, your mindset, your craft, your character, what you're really doing is telling yourself, I matter, my growth matters, my life is worth building. And that belief, that internal shift, that's where it all begins. Because once you start doing that hour and you stay committed, something magical happens. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop giving in to the voice that says, skip it, it won't matter. You stop waiting for motivation and start becoming a person who follows through regardless of how you feel. And that's where real power lives. Not in the hour itself, but in what the hour teaches you. That you are capable of consistency. That you can create progress from scratch. That you don't need external validation to become someone extraordinary. Because the life you want isn't found in what you do occasionally. It's found in what you do consistently. You want change, don't wait for the right time. Make one, carve it out, protect it, use it, and most importantly, repeat it every day, 1 hour, stacked with intention, lived with purpose, poured into what matters most, not for applause, not for approval, but because you finally decided that your future is worth an hour of your present. And when that decision becomes a habit, everything begins to shift. The law of accumulation. There's a quiet principle that governs every meaningful transformation, every extraordinary success, and every story of reinvention. It's not dramatic, It doesn't get headlines. It doesn't feel exciting in the moment, but it's always working, whether you believe in it or not. It's called the law of accumulation. The law simply says this: everything you do, think, say, or practice regularly accumulates. It stacks, it compounds, it grows in silence and then shouts in results. What you feed grows, what you ignore decays. And the beauty of this law is that it works with frightening consistency regardless of whether you're aware of it. That 1 hour a day that you pour into your growth, it might feel small, it might feel almost too small to matter. But just like saving a few dollars every day builds into a fortune, investing a small block of time daily can turn your entire life around. Because time is not your enemy, it's your ally, if you use it right. A few pages read each day becomes a library in your mind. A few reps at the gym becomes a body transformed. A few written paragraphs becomes a book that outlives you. Every skill, every breakthrough, every level of mastery starts as a tiny, ordinary effort, repeated consistently over time. That's accumulation. But here's what most people miss. Accumulation doesn't care whether you're building something positive or destructive. If you spend an hour each day complaining, numbing, scrolling, arguing, or procrastinating, that stacks too. Every wasted hour adds up. Every excuse becomes a thread in your habits. Every avoidance grows stronger the more you let it go unchecked. You don't stay the same by doing nothing. You either get better or you get worse. Every hour you live is a vote for the person you are becoming. This law is impartial. It doesn't respond to intentions, it responds to behavior. It rewards the doer, not the dreamer. And once you understand that, life becomes a series of deliberate investments. Every hour becomes a deposit into your character, your confidence, your competence. You start asking, what am I becoming through what I repeatedly do? And when you answer honestly, you start making changes. You stop chasing quick fixes. You stop demanding instant gratification. And you begin to value what can only be built with patience, persistence, and purpose. The truth is, most people don't change because they underestimate the power of small things done daily. They wait for motivation to do something big instead of using discipline to do something consistent. They don't realize that their future is being shaped by what they do repeatedly in their present. But the few who do get this, who commit to 1 hour a day, every day, building, learning, growing, they become unstoppable. Not because they're superhuman, but because they understand that time magnifies effort. So what are you accumulating? What are your hours saying about your values, your direction, your identity? Because the clock is always running. You're always building something. The only question is, are you building the life you want or the one you'll later regret? Point 3, breaking free from the illusion of no time. One of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves is, I don't have time. It's a seductive excuse because it sounds responsible. It sounds mature. It sounds true. But when you peel it back, you find that it's not about time at all. It's about priorities, choices, and what we've decided matters most. The truth is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Every person who's built something meaningful, every individual who's transformed their body, their mindset, their business, or their relationships, they did it with the same amount of time you have right now. What set them apart wasn't more hours. It was a different decision about how they used the hours they were already given. When people say they don't have time to read, to work out, to learn a new skill, to reflect, to plan, to dream, they're not making a factual statement, they're revealing what they truly value. They're revealing that comfort, convenience, and short-term relief are more important to them than growth, discipline, and long-term rewards. And here's what makes this so tragic. Most people don't even realize they're trading their future for temporary distractions. They don't realize that the 15 minutes they spend scrolling before bed, the half hour lost in meaningless conversation, the hour given away to TV or drama or mental autopilot, that's their 1 hour. That's the sacred time that could have changed everything. And it's not that people are lazy, it's that they're unaware. They haven't taken inventory of their time. They haven't tracked how much is spent passively, reactively, thoughtlessly. But when they do, when they finally sit down and count the hours lost, they realize they don't need more time, they just need more intentionality. One focused hour a day isn't hard to find. It just requires you to stop giving it away to everything that doesn't deserve it. This means creating boundaries. It means turning off notifications. It means waking up a little earlier or going to bed a little later. It means saying no to things that are urgent but not important. It means remembering that saying, "I don't have time," is just another way of saying, "It's not important enough to me right now." And if that stings a little, good, because it means you still care. It means there's still time to take control. Once you break free from the illusion that you're a victim of your schedule, you become powerful. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You realize that an hour is not something to find, it's something to claim. It's something to guard, it's something to respect. And the moment you begin respecting your time, your life starts to respect you back. You don't need to overhaul your life in a weekend. You don't need to rearrange everything. You just need to make one powerful choice, identify your hour, protect it like it matters, and use it like your future depends on it, because it does. The hour that builds the future. The future isn't something we stumble into by luck. It's something we build slowly, intentionally, hour by hour, day by day. And most people don't realize that their future's being written by the way they're spending their time right now. It's not some distant place you arrive at one day. It's shaped in the present. Every habit, every choice, every repeated hour, that's the blueprint. Your actions today are the bricks you're laying, and the results you live with tomorrow are built from them. The question is, what are you building with your time? If you dedicate just 1 hour a day to something that truly matters, something that aligns with your vision, your goals, your character, you begin to write a very different story. That hour becomes sacred. It becomes the space where distractions don't rule, where intention leads, and where transformation begins. You might be tired, you might be busy, you might not feel like it, but when you show up for that hour anyway, you are telling your future self, "I will not abandon you." That's the real difference between those who change their lives and those who only talk about it. The ones who change their lives don't have easier schedules, more support, or more luck. They just have a stronger commitment to the future they want. They are willing to give an hour now so they don't have to live in regret later. They're willing to be uncomfortable in the present so they can be free in the future. Think about what happens when you dedicate that hour to improving your health. You're not just getting stronger physically. You're building a future where your body supports your dreams, not holds them back. When you dedicate that hour to learning a new skill, you're not just expanding your mind, you're creating opportunities that don't exist yet. When you use that hour to write, plan, think, or create, you're giving shape to a reality that would otherwise never come to life. And every successful person you admire once stood where you are now with a choice to stay comfortable or to carve out that hour, to spend time or to invest it, to postpone their future or to begin shaping it today. They didn't see the results immediately, but they trusted the process. They showed up hour after hour, not because it felt magical, but because they believed their future was worth it. And it's not just about achievement. That 1 hour a day teaches you to value yourself. It says, "I am worth my own time." It's where you develop self-trust, self-respect, and a new sense of identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who might change and start becoming someone who is already changing. You move from wishful thinking to deliberate action. You shift from being a prisoner of circumstance to a creator of destiny. The future you want isn't built on hope alone, it's built on hours. Intelligent, focused, consistent hours. And the most powerful future you can build doesn't require a full-time commitment. It doesn't require a massive leap. It just requires that you don't let another day go by where you say, "I'll start later," because later turns into weeks, weeks turn into months, and one day you wake up realizing that you never ran out of time, you just never took control of it. So if your future is going to be anything more than a wish or a hope, you have to start building it right now. Not when you're less busy, not when you feel more motivated, but now with the time you already have, using the hour you can already access. Because the hour that builds the future is never somewhere out there. It's already in your hands. 1 hour a day for mastery? Mastery doesn't arrive like a lightning bolt. It doesn't show up in a flash of genius or a lucky break. It is earned through repetition, through effort, through time, and not just time in bulk, but time in focus. That's where the concept of 1 hour a day becomes not just powerful, but revolutionary, because one focused, undistracted, intentional hour each day can take you from novice to expert, from confused to confident, from average to exceptional. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. That's why they chase intensity instead of consistency. But the truth is, you don't need 10 hours a day to become a master. You need 1 hour. Repeat it over and over again. 1 hour where the world goes quiet and you dive deep into your craft, your skill, your growth. You study, you practice, you refine, and in doing so, you change. This is where mastery begins, not in the extraordinary, but in the deliberate. When you commit to 1 hour a day, you enter into a quiet agreement with yourself. You say, I will not remain where I am. And over time, that promise becomes proof. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dabble, but dominates. You don't just know more, you become more. And what once intimidated you becomes second nature. Think of any world-class musician, artist, entrepreneur, athlete, or thinker. They all share this one trait. They gave time to their growth when no one else was watching. They practiced when there was no applause. They studied when no one was grading them. They poured into their gift, 1 hour at a time, not because someone told them to, but because they couldn't accept staying the same. That's what 1 hour a day for mastery really is. It's a declaration that you're not willing to drift through life. It's the discipline of showing up when you don't feel like it. It's the humility to be a beginner and the courage to keep going when progress feels invisible, because that's how mastery works. It feels invisible for a long time. It's quiet, it's slow, it's repetitive, until one day it isn't. One day the words come easier, the skills feel natural, the confidence grows stronger, the results become undeniable, and people start asking you how you did it. They think you got lucky, they think you have a gift, but you'll know the truth. You gave your gift 1 hour a day. Mastery is not reserved for the few. It is available to anyone willing to commit. It's not about having more talent. It's about having more time invested in your talent. And the good news is that time is already in your day. It's already waiting. The only thing it's waiting on is you. From discipline to identity. Discipline is the door you walk through, but identity is the house you build. At first, you push yourself to show up for that 1 hour a day. Out of sheer willpower, you grit your teeth, you silence distractions, you do it even when you don't feel like it. And that's where it starts. Because discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's essential. And when you stay on that bridge long enough, something profound begins to happen. You stop needing to force it, because you've become someone new. That's the shift from discipline to identity. In the beginning, discipline is about action. You say, I'm going to do this because I must. And so you read the chapter, you write the page, you go for the run, you watch the course, you invest the hour. But then a new voice shows up inside of you. Not the voice of resistance, but the voice of ownership. The voice that says, this is who I am now. And when that voice takes root, you no longer have to drag yourself toward your goals. You're pulled by who you've decided to be. Most people never stay with something long enough to experience that shift. They start with motivation, but when it fades, and it always fades, they stop. They think something's wrong with them. They think discipline is punishment. They think their inconsistency is proof that they're not cut out for success. But what they don't realize is this: discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. And commitment always precedes transformation. Every time you show up, you send a message to your subconscious. This matters. And eventually your subconscious starts to agree. The external behavior becomes internal identity. You go from someone who reads occasionally to someone who is a reader. You go from someone who tries to be consistent to someone who is consistent. You go from someone who works out when possible to someone who doesn't feel right if they skip it. That's not about willpower anymore. That's about identity. That's about becoming. Think about the people you admire, the ones who live with clarity, strength, integrity. They didn't get there overnight. They didn't just decide one day, this is who I am, and magically become it. They showed up repeatedly when it was hard, when it was boring, when it felt like nothing was happening. And over time, the repetition sculpted their identity. The discipline became part of them. And once that happens, your momentum becomes automatic. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop needing to be convinced. You stop needing perfect conditions. And that's when things start to feel different. You begin to protect your hour because it's no longer a task. It's part of who you are. It's sacred ground. It's the time you meet the person you're becoming. But you have to earn that identity. You can't buy it. You can't fake it. You can't borrow it from someone else. You build it by doing the work, especially when it's hard, especially when no one's watching, especially when the voice in your head says, just skip today, because the day you skip is the day you weaken the new identity you're building, and the day you push through is the day you reinforce it. Your habits are not just things you do, they are votes for the kind of person you believe yourself to be, and when you stack enough of those votes, you don't just get better results, you become someone who no longer tolerates anything less than growth. Discipline is what gets you to the gym, to the book, to the quiet hour. Identity is what keeps you there, even when no one's clapping, even when the world isn't watching, because you are. Everyone wants a better life, a life with more freedom, more fulfillment, more confidence, more abundance. But wanting it isn't enough. Hoping for it isn't enough. Even working hard isn't enough if that work is disconnected from who you're becoming. Because life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you're prepared to handle, what you're equipped to manage, what you've grown to sustain. And that means the real work, the deep transformative work, is not just chasing outcomes. It's becoming the person worthy of those outcomes. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. And your habits reflect your identity. It's why 1 hour a day isn't just about productivity, it's about character. It's not just about getting more done, it's about becoming more intentional, more resilient, more capable, more aligned. When you invest that hour, you're not just chasing a dream, you're shaping a self. And the stronger that self becomes, the more naturally success flows to you, not because you forced it, but because you become the kind of person who attracts it. Think about it. If you want financial freedom, can you handle disciplined, delayed gratification and intelligent decision-making? If you want deep love, are you emotionally grounded, secure, and generous? If you want influence, are you trustworthy, consistent, and focused? Most people want the rewards without the refinement. They want the mountaintop without the climb. But life has a way of revealing who's ready and who's not. And that's where your hour a day comes in. It's not just about doing more. It's about growing into someone who can carry more. The hour that changes your life is not the hour you spend chasing. It's the hour you spend building, in silence, in focus, in honesty. It's where you meet your insecurities and wrestle them. It's where you confront your excuses and overcome them. It's where you practice integrity when no one's watching. Because that's what shapes your identity. And your identity is what determines the quality of your life. When you change who you are, you change what you tolerate, you change what you attract, you change what you believe is possible, and that creates a ripple effect that touches every area of your existence. Your health improves, your conversations deepen, your presence sharpens, Your goals become clearer not because you change the world, but because you change yourself. This is why the 1 hour a day matters. Because you're not just doing it to improve your skills or learn a new concept. You're doing it to become the kind of person who lives with intention, who follows through, who honors their commitments, who does the work even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it feels slow. Because you know that the reward is not just in the result, it's in the transformation. You want a better life? Then become the kind of person who doesn't waste the one resource that shapes it all, your time. Become the kind of person who protects your hour, uses it wisely, and refuses to drift. Because when you become that kind of person, the life you want won't feel like a fantasy anymore. It'll feel like the natural next chapter in the story you're writing, 1 hour at a time. So here we are, at the end of this idea. But really, it's the beginning of something far greater, if you let it be, because everything we've talked about leads to this truth: your life doesn't change by accident. It changes by decision. And that decision only matters if you turn it into action. 1 hour a day may not sound like much. It might even seem insignificant compared to the size of your dreams. But remember this: giant trees begin as tiny seeds, and the hour you give to your future every day is that seed. It's the proof that you're not just waiting for life to happen. You're choosing to build it, shape it, command it. Most people spend their time reacting to noise, to pressure, to stress. But you now know the power of responding, of reclaiming your time, of devoting 1 hour, not to the world's demands, but to your own destiny. Because if you can control 1 hour, you can learn to control your day. And if you can control your days, you can shape your life. I've seen the impact of small, consistent actions. How 1 hour of reading rewires your thinking. How 1 hour of focused effort leads to mastery. How discipline over time becomes your identity. How self-growth is the path to self-respect. And how becoming the person worthy of your goals is the foundation of lasting success. You don't need 10 hours. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. You don't need more motivation. You need to start right now with what you have. Because success isn't owned, it's rented. And rent is due every single day. That rent can be paid in distraction or it can be paid in discipline. But only one of those investments gives you your life back. So don't underestimate what's possible. Don't look at where you are and decide that's where you must stay. Instead, look at your next hour as your doorway, your permission slip, your breakthrough. Use that hour like your future depends on it, because it does. No one is coming to do it for you, and that's the most empowering truth of all, because it means it's in your hands, always has been. The only thing left now is for you to make the hour count.